Hi, I'm Ryan, and I'm here to give an informative presentation on drug courts in America. I have worked in the drug and alcohol field for about 2 years, half of it as a recovery house manager and owner, and the other half as a case manager in a local rehab. With this experience, I have worked with a lot of people who have been involved with both sides of drug court, the judges, the lawyers, and the actual individuals who are subjected to the stipulation. Drug addiction has and will affect most people in this country. It is at epidemic proportions. And you're hard pressed to run into anyone who doesn't have, some sister, brother, niece, nephew, friend who at some point or another suffered from drug addiction or alcoholism. And it's important to note too that it is protected by the Americans with Disability Act because it's considered a disease, and a genetic disease at that. From 1980 to 2018, drug incarceration rates went from 19,000 people to upwards of 180,000 people, and that statistic continues to grow even with drug courts trying to combat that and focus on rehabilitation rather than incarceration. In Tim DeBoostie's Innovative Justice, his paper titled Innovative Justice, Federal Reentry Drug Courts, How Should We Measure Success? He talks a lot about the origins and the history of drug courts. So from that research, I learned that the first drug court was created in Miami by Chief Judge Wetherington to get a hold of the crack epidemic, which was running rampant in that city. So that was the first drug court, and that really set the precedent for all other drug courts being creative. They learned a lot of things throughout it, and it's set up as, a judge oversees all of it. Then there's the defense lawyer, a prosecutor, there's parole and probation officers, and there's all types of case managers and other ancillary people. It's a whole team of people who are focused on being proactive and helping, anyone who's been incarcerated for drug crimes and all that. So the teams are set up as authority and supervision, which is the judge and the parole and probation officers, and then there's support and encouragement that it does also come from the judge and parole officers. I've seen that in my day-to-day life, but it's mainly comes from case managers and the like. So drug courts were first initiated to fight the crack epidemic, but one of the main reasons they became so largely adapted through our country is because of the financial reasons, like most other things in our country are, pushed forward by. So I read a lot of statistics on the National Archives and Records on drug court statistics, and for every $1 spent on a drug court program in any given county saves on average $3.36 of taxpayer money that otherwise would be spent on healthcare costs, welfare, and incarceration rates. It's not cheap to keep someone in prison, and as we know already, our prisons are overpopulated and privatized, so they have financial focuses most of the time. Like I said, the savings occur due to lower recidivism rates and lower healthcare costs and lower first responder costs. It encapsulates all of it. Every cop that has to show up on a drug call, every ambulance that has to show up for an overdose, they are all affected by this. Drug courts do work too. I think that's one of the main reasons that they save money and they've continued to be implemented, is because an average drug court helps lowers recidivism and incarceration rates and more criminal activity by 8 to 26%, and a really well implemented drug court can lower it by up to 35%. So from the first drug court in 1989, it has grown to about 2,500 drug courts in 47% of counties in the country. And the success of like the drug court program of being like proactive versus reactive and rehabilitative versus incarcerative has also started a lot of other like socioeconomic criminal justice programs, like the tribal wellness program, the veterans treatment program for mentally ill offenders, and plenty of other ones. So in conclusion, drug courts, they work, they continue to grow, they lower incarceration rates, and they focus on rehabilitation rather than incarceration.